So for this video, we're going to be getting some in-game lore from this very special former policeman dressed in a biomech suit. Well, I guess we could start at the beginning. My earliest memory was being taken by district recruitment forces from my bio-slum during one of the seasonal harvest sweeps. They seem to occur when a sector's population reaches a certain maturity. There were dozens of these fabled three-legged walkers that towered over us, scanning building after building for kilometers. They looked unlike our own. We knew they were exported from the industrial prefectures of Southeast Eurasia. Unlike the sweeps of before, it was impossible to run. My habitation section was deemed infested with a kind of virus, and they razed it to the ground. Unfortunate, bro. My family were locked in the hab when they filled it with gas, then fire. Only those under 5 years of age were taken. I remember one child that lived down the street from me. His parents lied about his age, and they had one of the tripods impale him on its leg as an example, and paraded him for the rest of the event. That was another memory. They didn't wipe that one. Okay. I'm just thinking about what I'm reading because it's so beautiful. A premium cigarette will do well about now. These imported ones are a bit too close to home. Motions to the cigarettes impatiently. Your reward is 50k. Like all the other children I knew, we were taken to what we later learned was the Gobian Steppes Regional Vocational Academy, a great biostructure beneath the desert. A place so different, we'll never remember home for the years to come. The artificial instructors there raised us, trained us in all manner of skills. So it was raised by AI? We were released into servitude once we were of age. Matron 1 personally assigned me to the Department of State Security, District Troop 2nd Brigade, due to the specialist skills our cohort were instructed in. We were 57 children when we started. We were 7 by the time of graduation. Okay. I can't remember what happened of the others. I try to sometimes, but it feels like they never existed. Too many lifetimes, too many wipes. I can barely remember how we learned, how we trained, did to each other there. That process of hardening and survival, it must not have been pleasant. That much I can imagine. Bro, this... I'm about to fucking smoke this guy. Bring me 10 packs. I got you, man. I don't care about the credits. No, to be honest, 75k for a bunch of cigarettes, eh? I really should quit these, shouldn't I? I know it's not good for the dogs. The reward is 75k. We were actually shipped back home, of all places. My neighborhood was razed to the ground and new biostructures, regrown from the nutrient-dense ruins. Everything felt so foreign. One thing left unchanged was the police station. I realized I was apathetic at the time, accepting of my post in life. There was only duty, and I was a tool of the state. I only really recall moments of pride and fulfillment, like our first drug raid. Okay. We were called the Magnificent Seven, apparently a reference to a famous show from old Europa. We always skirted the edge of procedure to be able to secure our performance credits, which kept morale, sustenance, and maintenance flowing our way. These revolvers, they hold a special place in my memory. We were unchallenged in our district, but one day that changed. Matron 1 assigned us a mission that surpassed our usual threat handling factor. A system the all-powerful Matron series artificial superintelligence depends on to evaluate optimal troop allocation. When we submitted our letter of appeal, it was denied, along with a punishment warning. This was to be an off-the-record containment operation on a bioweapon forge, where some lockdown protocols failed. We were the only squad in my station that had been assigned to the case. And I've run out of import cigarettes again. If you'd be so kind, you know I will have something worth your while. So anyway, That turned out to be the worst day of my life. On the flight to the facility, we learned 2 entire squads of district troops dispatched from nearby sectors were flatlined soon upon breaching the facility. Flatlined so they were killed. By the time we arrived on the scene, we found recognizable bits of internal troop, or what remained of them, everywhere, even stuck on the ceiling. For internal troop to have been dispatched, Matron 1 must have deemed this case severe enough to destabilize the entire district, and escalated the threat response accordingly. I can't remember much else, other than something big and fast, bounding from the corridor, the muzzle flashes dying one by one, then a skinless face leering at me, and I was grabbed by massive hands. I'm glad it must have been quick, or at least I hope it was. When I came to, it was in an operating theater. That was the last time I saw things the same way. Wait, hold on. Okay. So this guy's like... He's wearing like an Augmentation suit, but it's not like an actual Augmentation, from what I remember. So this is like the earliest prototype of the suit. Because there's no way, like... I'm literally trying to imagine an Augmentation losing to a grabber. This green tinge over everything, the hyper resolution, it gave me migraines for decades. But one gets used to it, eventually. Even that leering face in my nightmares has that same look, as though even my memories have not been spared. Even they are now filtered through these vision systems. Fuck, I miss the simplicity. Seeing everything, seeing through everything. In hypercolor, everything loses its meaning. Sighs, I could use some smokes, comrade. Motherfucker, this is fucking America. Ah, it's you. Reaches for the cigarettes. Thank you for this. Your reward is 125k. You think this blood, points at the suspended blood bags, is mine? I don't even bleed anymore. Not blood anyway. I just use it to remind me of how it used to feel when I still had a pulse. You never really get used to this hollow feeling. It's like watching myself from behind a veil. Forget it. Anyways, once I was fit for the debriefing, I was told there were only 3 surviving squad members from the failed containment operation. Only Danya, Altan, and I survived. They told me they were in the same facility in various states of intensive care and recovery, but doing well. I never got to see them though. The caretaker units said our squad was specially drafted for an experimental reconstructive program to bring back the nearly dead. This would be a new form of repayment for our failure as subjects of the state. Our lives returned, our capabilities enhanced. In return, servitude at the highest level. Shakes empty cigarette pack. Sighs. Glory to Yuruska. Sighs. I had no time, no mental strength to grieve for the others. No opportunity to find out about the raid and everything surrounding it. Did the sector get locked down? I can't remember. Maybe it's something they did to me. Maybe it was this body of mine. Maybe it's just me. I'm stopped thinking about them eventually. After all, I was in a rapid forced rehabilitation program. I got stronger every day. Within a week of getting used to my new body, I could land a burst of 3 20mm rounds in a head-sized group at 300 meters. I was deemed suitable for reassignment. My destination? The Mega DMZ on the Algerian border. Rehabilitation through fire. Okay, so alright, so I was wrong. So he was like he was some internal security soldier, a normal human before this, I think. And now this was when he got augmented to be a super soldier. So he became like an actual Augmentation, I'm guessing. Stares at the cigarette box in hand and tosses it away. You know, it's nice to be able to count the cigarettes without having to open the box. Bring me 15 packs. 225k? Man, I don't need to do missions. Fuck missions. Just get cigarettes. Thank you, comrade. Yes, no problem, motherfucker. Where were we? Algeria. It was too much to really process at the time. But my eyes, if you could still call them that, my new eyes, they were truly opened. You still see a lot during your first year. The Afro-Ruskin brigades are an entirely different creature altogether. We did things that I never thought would be allowed, even by our low Gobian standards. But this was not policing, this was total war, and it was fault on every level imaginable. The funny thing is how they let me keep my memories of the Gobies, but everything past rehab, the embedded memory net in me doesn't even attempt to stitch or smooth out redoctored memories. The nonsensical imagery, artifacts and distortions, the discombobulated perversion of my past lives are almost left there on purpose, to remind me not to bother looking for or digging for the truth. All I can do is think for tomorrow. That's how I kept going. Existed for many duty cycles, many years. It helped that on our recuperation cycles, we could steal a visit to the local shanties and find unlicensed neurotech clinics. Many of us chose to overwrite our memories. It's surprisingly more effective than the weekly, low-grade biotechnical antipsychotic dosage we were issued. Oh wait, I've just noticed the revolvers over here. Very small little revolvers. Bring me 15 packs of premium 6. 235k. Oh my yes. Welcome back. Your reward is 275k. When the regional conflict escalated and our position on the DMZ was eventually overrun, we realized Matron 1 had long forsaken us. There were even rumors that the Matriona committee was fracturing at the highest layers of governance. Newer generation leadership and tactics models were having irreconcilable differences between each other. That alone brought untold suffering to the everyday servants of our nation. They're really being led by AI. Damn. Imagine being given orders by ChatGPT. We deserted. It was the only way both to live with the situation and ultimately live with ourselves. Moving across the grey zones, we took on whatever work we could find to survive. Every day, we lived in fear that the lays of the Matriona would hunt us down, but that day never came. Perhaps being an early experimental force, and with newer experimental units released constantly into active service, we were ultimately not even worth repossession or silencing, just left to rot. Eventually, some of us banded together as a warband for hire. The rest went their own separate ways. Okay. Bring me 20 packs of basic 6. And I will reward you with 500k. Bet. Oh shit, I've run out. Alright, that was the lore. Hope you enjoyed. As soon as I get a bunch more cigarettes, I'll do another lore video with this cigarette addicted motherfucker. Alright, so I was wrong initially. This guy was a internal security soldier, like a policeman at the beginning, and then, you know, got attacked by a grabber. He got remade into the first Ulgamech. And yeah, deserted. Somehow found... Well, we don't know how he came here exactly, because the last info we got was he was part of a warband after he deserted, a warband of mercenaries. So yeah, very interesting lore.